Okay, boxing fans, right now we're going to give you our prediction for Nathan Cleverly versus Tony Bellew. This is going to be the most anticipated fight in British boxing, says Eddie Hearn. I'm not so sure. But we'll get into this one. We've got No Holds Barred Boxing here and Paulie Mack. Do you call yourself Paulie Mack still, or have you got a new
No,
nickname now?
no, it's not a nickname. I just have a different Twitter handle now.
Okay. We've got Paulie as well.
Just Paul will do.
Paul will do. It will. We're talking about Tony Bellew and Nathan Cleverly. We'll start with you, Paul. We get straight into it. Is Tony Bellew too angry in this fight, to follow a game plan?
He's definitely not giving off the right impression, to be perfectly honest, because he's just coming across like even the slightest thing annoys him, and that he's very, very snappy, and he's very, very like irritable, and he's very, very like it's hard to word. I've seen him on these like Sky shows, like the Ringside Special and the Face Off and the Tactics and all that rubbish that Sky have made, and he hasn't looked calm on any single one of them. Even when he's sitting there not saying anything, he genuinely gives off an aggressive feel. And I'm not even in the room with him, and I can tell. I don't know whether he's just doing it to try and intimidate Cleverly, to make Cleverly scared of him when Cleverly's sitting next to him or whatever. That's all I can imagine. But really, it's not coming across well on camera. Like, he's not impressing anyone with his big talk. We've heard him talk big before, and he's not delivered before. So I don't know why he thinks, shouting and raving, talking about how hard he is and how much damage he's going to do. I don't really see who it's impressing, to be honest. I don't see the point of it.
Ryan, what are your thoughts on Bellew, the angry man? Do you think he can follow a game plan or not?
Well, they say you shouldn't fight angry, don't they? They say you should fight smart, because if you get in there and you're all like, frustrated and angry, you're not going to fight smart, and you're there for the taking. So yeah, he definitely gets wound up too easily. And I don't even know why, really, because I know they both sort of, been winding each other up, but you have to think that he's worse than Nathan Cleverly. But
I just want to stop you there for a minute. Would you say, actually, I've just thought of this on the spot, would you say Bellew winds himself up?
yeah, I think he's sort of like got sort of tall man syndrome. So like he's got something man syndrome. He's very angry and all. But I know people on Facebook who tell me that they know him personally, and they say he's really nice and what have you. So maybe he is really nice, but he needs to just chill out, at least when he's in front of the camera.
Yeah. Paul, going back to you for a minute, just back to Cleverly now. Is what he's doing, which is really saying very little. He's not really said much, Is that, is that going to help him spring the perfect game plan in this fight?
It could do, to be perfectly honest. I really think it's possible that he's deliberately, keeping his head down for the most part. Because, okay, I know he's been all over Sky as well, doing the, sales job like Bellew has to try and shift tickets for this pay-per-view. But whenever they've appeared together, it's always been Bellew who's been, mouthing off and saying all the outlandish things, whereas Cleverly's just, for the most part, kept quiet and just gave simple answers. And maybe he is deliberately trying to just appear calm and control his emotions so he can save his energy. But I can see it from the other point of view as well, that maybe he's not getting worked up like Bellew is because he's just not as bothered as Bellew is. Maybe he's not taking the fight as seriously as Bellew is. Maybe he's not that interested in winning. Of course he's interested in winning, but it's not the only thing in his world. Like, it clearly is in Bellew's, because all Bellew talks about is this fight, where I can imagine Cleverly wouldn't even mention this fight if he didn't even ask him. So I could see it from that point of view as well. Maybe Cleverly, as Bellew keeps insisting, has, maybe he's not that bothered about the sport anymore ever since he lost to Kovalev, and that's why he's not really mouthing off, because he can't be bothered mouthing off over something that he's not really bothered about. Maybe you can see it from both points of view, can't you? Maybe it's a really clever plan, or maybe it's just a case of Cleverly's heart's not really in it. That's why he's not really putting any effort in.
I suppose, yeah, good angles to look at there. No holds barred boxing. Ryan, what do you think? Do you think Cleverly is springing the perfect plan into action, or do you think he's just not into the sport and doesn't want it anymore?
Cleverly.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. He's only lost one fight, so he hasn't even bounced back yet, has he? Since he lost.
Yeah,
I think this will be.
Fights, mate.
Has he? Oh right. I
Where
was
have you
trying to
been?
think. I'm obviously not paying much attention to his career, but well, this is if he's going to stay at the top, even if he's going to stay at European level, he's going to have to fight this sort of opponent. So whether he's ready or not, he's still going to have to be fighting this sort of guy. So yeah, I don't really know whether he's planning for it right or not. But at least, unlike Bellew, at least he seems to be keeping his head down and just preparing for the fight rather than getting wound up, winding himself up. So I'm not exactly sure what I think of his career.
Okay, Paul, do you reckon Bellew has turned the public against him?
He's definitely turned a lot of people off with his behaviour, hasn't he, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I used to be a big fan of Bellew, but I've really gone off him the past year because I just can't stomach the stuff he says and the stuff he does. It's not something that I at all like to see or something I can support. We did a video a few months ago where we wondered whether he spat at Cleverly. I think that was after the show in the summer where they had that little confrontation at ringside or whatever it was. Now, he said he didn't spit at him. Some people think he did. Regardless, I at the time thought he did. I don't really know what I think now, but the stuff like that, the stuff like screaming his mouth off, saying, I'm going to smash your head in, I'm going to do all this. There's such thing as hyping a fight, and there's such thing as just making an arsehole out of yourself. And he's just made a complete arsehole out of himself the last couple of months, especially with all the stuff where I think earlier today he threatened to have a fight with some fans on Twitter just because they were giving him a bit of stick. Oh, come on, mate, how old are you? This is not the schoolyard. If you don't like what people are saying about you, you just brush it off. You're a professional at the end of the day. Stop picking fights with people over nothing. Stop saying you're going to do all this damage to somebody. Just stop, don't talk and do it. Do you know what I mean? And okay, I'm not a professional boxer. You are, well done, but that doesn't mean I've got no right to talk about it. Doesn't mean I've got no right to express my opinion. At the end of the day, it's boxing fans who pay his wages. It's boxing fans who buy tickets to these shows. It's boxing fans who give their money to the promoter, and the promoter in turn gives the money to him. So he's definitely turned a lot of fans off with his attitude towards not only Cleverly, but his attitude towards fans as well, because it's not acceptable, and in some cases it's just laughable, some of the stuff he's come out with.
Yeah.
Now, I'll finish off. Everyone says who meets him, oh, he's a nice fella, he's a really good fella, if you met him you'd like him. Well, maybe that's true, maybe it's not, whatever. But if it is the case, then I really wish that he'd come across like that, because he definitely doesn't come across like that when he's interviewed on camera. If he's a nice fella, then be a nice fella on camera. But you're not being a nice fella at all with the stuff you've been saying. That's my opinion, really.
Well, it's not just your opinion. Actually, going on to this, has Bellew turned a lot of the public against him? In some cases, he has. I was talking to a casual fan at work this week, and I said to them, are you going to watch the fight? And they went, nah, I think he's a bit of a bell end, really. Play on words, Bellew, bell end, I know, yeah, but it's just, if they can see that he's a bit of a bell end, and, I'm not buying it, and I think he's a bit of a bell end. Don't forget, Paul's actually met him before, and he's turned against him. Shit, I've just dropped my phone. So yeah, what are you thinking, Ryan?
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't met him, but from what I've seen on camera and all that, he just comes across as a bit of a nutter. And in boxing, like I said, they always say that you should keep your composure, fight smart. Only occasionally do you see the real elite fighters sort of get into scraps. I remember when Hasim Rahman and Lennox Lewis got into that scrap, or Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis. But it was because of the Americans' fault. It was Rackman and Bellew who were like getting into his face. But for the most part, the elite fighters tend to just remain professional and not get wound up. But Bellew, yeah, he does seem to wind himself up.
Yeah, another thing I wanted to add as well was Bellew was like, and especially some of his fans who know him, when they say, he's a lovely person if you got to know him. Well, a lot of us don't get to know him, and a lot of people right at this point don't want to get to know him. So what some people have to go off is what they see on TV, what they see on YouTube, what they see here, there and everywhere, not actually meeting him in person. And when you put yourself out as this, person the way he does, you're not gonna. That's why a lot of people don't like him, and I've turned against him. That's what I think. But we'll move on. Paul, what have you made of Cleverly in the build-up? What do you think of him as a cruiserweight and just altogether as Cleverly?
Well, it goes back to what I said before, doesn't it? He doesn't really look like he's got the fire in his belly anymore. It doesn't seem like he's that pumped up for the fight. It doesn't seem like he's that passionate. Whereas Bellew is nothing but passionate about this. Cleverly's just, yeah, no, maybe, I'm going to do this. Whereas Bellew's like shouting and raving and, Cleverly, like I said, from what I've seen of him on camera and interviewed and stuff, it doesn't inspire me, to be perfectly honest. I really think that his heart's not here anymore. Maybe he'll prove me wrong on the night. Maybe he'll come out and maybe he'll fight like he's got a red hot poker up his arse and he'll show how passionate he really is. I'd love to see that, to be perfectly honest, because it would make a better fight. But from what I've seen of him, talking and stuff, it's not really impressive. And in regards to him in the ring, there's nothing really you can draw on his 2 fights that he's had already because, let's be perfectly honest. He fought 2 nobodies. He fought a guy who, didn't he fight, what was the guy's name? Sean Corbin?
Yeah, Sean
Wasn't
Corbin,
he like a super middleweight coming up to cruiserweight for the payday?
Something like that.
Something stupid like that, yeah. And he fought another guy who didn't even turn up in shape. And he beat both of them pretty quick and pretty easy, but you can't draw anything on fights like that. He's got a new trainer and stuff like that. But, again, he's not been in the fights that have shown us whether his new trainer's made any difference. This fight will show us exactly what Cleverly's like. It will show us whether he's improved the cruiserweight, whether he still wants it, whether he's a better fighter. The whole package. This fight will be the perfect. This fight will be a magnifying glass on Nathan Cleverly's soul.
Yeah.
That's as deep as I can go.
Okay. Ryan, what are your thoughts on Cleverly in the build-up? Have you been impressed or not impressed with him?
Well, to be honest, I don't really pay too much attention to the build-up of any fight. I barely watch any of those reality sort of shows that they have, like 24/7 boxing or whatever. And I rarely follow any fighters on Twitter, see what they're all saying or whatever. So I'm not too sure. But what I have seen, I would say that Cleverly does seem to be out of the press quite a lot. But then that could mean that he's just preparing. You don't hear much of him because he's busy preparing and not busy mouthing off. But yeah, I have thought about the 2 fights which Cleverly has had since actually, and they were 2 mediocre opposition who he was just fighting on the back of a loss. Tony Bellew is going to be a completely different prospect. So I don't think we can really say much about Cleverly until he gets back in the ring with top quality opposition again. Because he was fighting some pretty decent fighters before he lost to Kovalev. So he's now got to get back to that level, at least that level, and see if he can still beat that sort of fighter. If not, I don't know what his future is going to look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Paul, lastly, I just want to ask you, who do you think is the better cruiserweight, or who looks the better cruiserweight? And I want you to add in all different aspects of it. Who looks the better physically, not just who's fought the better opponents and stuff.
Going on what we've seen so far, I guess you'd have to say Bellew because he's fought better opponents. and he's been gut checked to an extent, because he had a rough moment against that guy Valery Brudov, where he could have got himself knocked out, but he managed to come through it and he managed to dig deep against a full-blown cruiserweight. And cleverly, again, he won his fights very, very easily, but they were against nobodies, really. I think in the long term, if they both stuck with cruiserweight, I think cleverly could be the better fighter, because personally, I think he does suit them. I think he suits cruiserweight better than Bellew does, or at least he looks it. He's done the weight properly. He took his time to grow into the weight rather than just looking like he's got an a load of pies like Bellew has, to be perfectly honest, because Bellew does look quite fleshy, whereas Cleverly looks really ripped. So, long term, I think Cleverly could be the better fighter, but going on what we've seen short term, you'd have to say Bellew, because he's just fought better opponents.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts then, Ryan? Who's the better cruiserweight?
Yeah, I agree with Paul. Short term, you'd say Bellew. The two guys he fought at cruiserweight I thought were better. Like Brudov has fought some good opponents. He fought Guillermo Jones only a few years ago. So I would say out of the two, if you were to say who has fought the two better opponents out of the two, I would say Bellew has, since moving up in weight. But yeah, long term, Cleverly's got the age advantage. He does look more ripped. Maybe he takes training more seriously. I don't know. Cleverly, maybe he does take it more seriously. Maybe that's why we don't see him in the media so much. But yeah, short term, I think Bellew looks the stronger at least. And I also think he's got the better chin of the two. And, you know, in a fight like this, which you imagine is probably going to go the distance, Bellew could end up, you know, having a lot of punches thrown his way. So anyway, yeah, I think Bellew short term.
Yeah. I was thinking, you know, obviously Cleverly looks the significantly better, but it all goes down to what they both bring into the table and stuff in this fight. Like Bellew brings power, we know that. He'll bring more power to this way because he'll be less trained. I understand that. Cleverly did have a good chin. I don't know what it's like now. Bellew, not so. He's never had a good chin. See what it looks like now. Cleverly's got the speed, he's got the big punch output, and he's got a good variety of punches. Bellew, like I said, he's got that one punch, but sometimes that one punch can be enough. I guess we'll see on fight night, but we'll just go through who do I think is the better guy out. It's tough. I think Bellew's shown us more up to now, as in he's fought the better opponents, but at the end of this fight, I don't know who will be the better one. Do you want to give us your prediction, Paul?
I've thought about it a bit, and I've tried to convince myself of several different outcomes, but I keep coming back to the same one. I think Bellew is going to land that punch at some point, and that punch is going to be enough, and he's going to knock Cleverly out. I'll go for the middle round. I'll go for round 6. I think Bellew will land that big shot that he's on about. He'll knock Cleverly down. Cleverly will get up, and I don't know, maybe it'll just be a crap stoppage or something like that. And you know, Bellew will run round like a raving lunatic. Cleverly will do okay in the fight.
Yeah, that's what we don't want. We don't want no shitty stoppage, and we don't want no terrible judging. That's one thing we're
on a Matchroom show, mate, and we're in Bellew's hometown. Yeah. But I think Cleverly, I don't think he's going to get annihilated. I think he'll have his moments in the fight, and he might even be leading on the scorecards when the fight ends, because, like you said, he's got the big punch output. I think he'll do well at some point, but I can definitely see Bellew landing that big shot on him at some point. And Cleverly, I don't think he's got the fire to bite down on the gum shield and get through it. I think he'll get stopped, maybe controversially, but I don't even think he'll moan that much about it. I don't think he'll kick up a stink at all. I think he'll just go, "Oh, okay then, I got stopped. I'll go home now," because that's been his whole demeanour leading up to the fight. If he got controversially beaten this fight, he's done nothing in the build-up to suggest that he'd even care. So Bellew will win. In round 6, I'll go with a knockout.
Okay. Ryan, do you want to give us your prediction?
Yeah, Bellew points, I think. I think it'll be another close fight. If there is a knockout, it will definitely be Bellew getting the knockout. But yeah, I think Bellew wins a decision that's probably wider than the first fight. and it might lead to a third fight between the two.
Could do, yeah. I'm gonna go away from you guys. I'm gonna say Cleverly gets a decision again, and Bellew cries, but we'll see about that. I could also see, like I said, I could also see Bellew landing a few shots, and maybe if he knocks him down, he gets up and then survives the distance, and wins a decision, as in that is Bellew. But I'm gonna say Cleverly wins a decision. But we'll see on Fight Night. Tell us who you think's gonna win this fight. Thanks for listening.